Let's have a brief look at exchange rates. Exchange rates are determined by your regular demand and supply analysis for a currency. So if you have, say, the quantity of rands available in the market, quantity of rands, and you have your dollar price of rands, dollar price of rands over here, we can have a look at the demand and the supply for the currency. Now notice that this dollar price of rands is not the rand dollar exchange rate that you're used to. We are used to saying, say, 6 rand to the dollar. This is the other way around. This is the dollar per rand equation. So if that were to increase, it would mean a decrease in that and an actual appreciation in the currency. So let's say the demand for your currency changed. It would shift this curve upwards. It would lead to a higher dollar per rand ratio, but a lower rand per dollar ratio. And so that would mean an appreciation in the currency, which is what you would expect. If there was an increase in the demand for rands, you would lead to an appreciation in the currency. If there was a decrease in the demand for rands, you would lead to a depreciation in the currency, which is correct. Now, the supply of rands can also increase. If there is, say, an increase in the demand for rands, which would lead to appreciation of the currency, perhaps the Reserve Bank don't want an appreciation of the currency because that's very bad for our export industries. So the Reserve Bank could increase supply of rands, which would get it back to its original point. So the Reserve Bank can interfere quietly in the market by increasing supply, which would have an effect on the price, which would hopefully affect the economy in the way that they would want it. So this is how you find your equilibrium level of your exchange rate, equilibrium, and the equilibrium quantity of rands in the market. It's determined basically by demand and supply. The determinants of this demand and supply can range from everything such as tastes or preferences. People might think that the rand is going to depreciate in the future, so they demand less of it now, which means it depreciates now. They also could think that the income of other countries could change. So relative income does have an effect on the rand-dollar exchange rate, as it will shift demand of the good. Also relative price changes. If the price in your home country increases, people aren't going to want to demand as much of your home country's goods, so they're not going to need as many rands, so they're going to demand less rands, and it will lead to a depreciation in the currency. Also relative interest rates have an effect on the exchange rate, such as if our relative interest rate increases, you're going to get a greater return on our bank savings. If you put your money in rands and put them in our bank, you're going to get a greater return than the return you would get on in another country. So if you get a greater return here, people are going to demand more rands. It'll shift the demand curve outwards and it'll appreciate the currency. And then speculation has a lot to do with the changes in demand in the market. This is usually what actually drives about 80 to 90% of the market in terms of short-term fluctuations. Speculation is saying that we believe there is going to be a crisis in South Africa. We believe there is going to be this sort of problem. We believe this is a good thing. All these beliefs lead to speculation, where they try and take jumps in the currency and try and make profits from jumps in the currency. So there's too much liquidity in the market. They're trading the rand too much, leads to speculation, and they try and make money from these jumps in the rand. The trading in the rand is not a result of needing rands to buy certain goods. It's just a result of trading in the rand to make a profit. And the speculation makes this market very volatile. But this is the basic workings of the rand-dollar exchange rate and how you determine the price of the exchange rate. However, it's obviously very difficult to determine things such as taste, relative incomes, relative interest rate changes, etc. So this is a basic analysis, and we'll now move on to other aspects of the macroeconomy.